say I'm just so grateful for you and you as well for obviously helping and raising an amazing husband for me, who is a great example from you guys, and of course Connie, to our kids. So I'm very grateful for everything you guys have done, because you created an amazing man to come into my life and help me out so much.
Power of carrying my own life through the incredible relationship I have with my mom. You know, my mom always let me know that there isn't anything I couldn't do, you know, besides coming home after curfew. Sorry, Mom. But when it came to dancing, you know, I feel like I started a lot later than a lot of people do. So I always felt like I was playing a game of catch up. So my mom got me my first video camera so I could actually watch myself practice and critique myself and get better. And the way that she took notice of how serious I was about getting better and how dedicated I was to dance, it just made it the perfect gift. And as a matter of fact, that care that went into giving that gift made the Twitch that you know today. And everywhere that I dance and try to spread smiles and spread joy is a byproduct of that care. So I love you, Mom. Thank you. And y'all, the world needs more stories to inspire care. So make sure you share your story in the power of care.
Hi friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Thursday, January 9th, 2025, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Stephen Twitch Boss, DJ Twitch, a dancer, DJ from the Ellen DeGeneres Show, judge from So You Think You Can Dance, a runner-up of season 8, So You Think You Can Dance, and an all-around talented and amazing human who passed away in 2022, has been at the center, his life and legacy has been at the center of an ongoing dispute on social media. And Allison Holker, his late wife, did an interview with People magazine where she revealed details about his life that have left his family members horrified, outraged, and angry, because she is claiming allegations of SA occurred in his childhood. She is, well, alluding to it. She's also claiming allegations of addictions to substances and darkness, secrets that he was carrying with him. The book, she claims, seeks to be a help for people, although we're not quite sure why she would think this is helping anyone, because the book is of her revealing details from his private journals, details that he never shared with her or anyone else in his life, and at this time he's not able to defend himself or verify the veracity of these claims. This dispute has been ongoing since his death in 2022, because his family members claim that Allison Holker forced them to sign an NDA in order to see his body, in order to attend his funeral. And then the funeral itself was all about Allison. Family members barely were given opportunities to even speak at his funeral, according to people I've spoken to. And friends who signed the NDA claim that since his death and since the funeral, Allison has gone out of her way to shut out everyone associated with him, try to climb up off his death to create her own sense of fame, and has been acting very erratic. At issue to the dispute is not about money. In fact, it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with a legacy that his family wants to help protect, a legacy that he had, one of positivity, a man that very few people had anything negative to say about, and someone that bring joy to so many people's lives and was a friend to so many people. In the last several days, I have had the opportunity to speak to dozens of people that were friends with him, his family members, his brothers, his uncles, and none of them say anything negative about this man. In fact, they all say that they loved him, that he was amazing, and all they want is to see his children. And his children have been completely cut off from the family. Now, instead of going to the family and instead of talking to them about what she found in his quote unquote journals, she decided to publish a book. And when she gave the interview to People magazine and talked about his alleged drug use and tried to pin him as an addict and someone suffering from demons of childhood sexual abuse, his family has said she crossed all the lines of decency. It took a couple days, but his mom spoke out and released a statement, and a copy of that statement was provided to me by his former manager, Nelson Diaz. And the statement reads, "Our family is absolutely appalled by the misleading and hurtful claims made about my son, Stephen Boss. The recent publications spreading untruths about Stephen have crossed every line of decency. As his mother, I will not let these accusations go unanswered. We will not stand by while his name and legacy are tarnished. He doesn't deserve this, and the kids don't deserve this. For the last 2 years, I have remained quiet and away from the public eye to protect my family. My primary focus has been on healing and attempting to remain connected to my grandchildren. But when I read these dreadful claims about my baby, our beloved Stephen, I realized I could not stay silent any longer. Our family will ensure his name and memory are protected, and we are committed to defending his honor." Connie Boss Alexander. Her statement followed a couple days of incredible backlash for Allison. And Allison, who was trying her best to mitigate this backlash and save the release of her book and her public image, released her own statement. The statement that she released was not in a post, but it was instead placed on Instagram in her stories. And instead of addressing many of the concerns by the family and their friends and his friends and even her own friends, she attempted to gaslight and deflect. Here's what Allison had to say. "To the fans of Stephen and our family and friends, I want to be clear that my only intention in writing the book is to share my own story as well as part of my life with Stephen to help other people. Just like you, I never really knew what happened. And even as I'm trying to put the pieces together, I will never really know. If you decide to read the book, hopefully you see my intention is to celebrate the love and life I shared with Stephen and our 3 beautiful children, and also the more complex aspects of both of our lives. I hope that by sharing our full story, maybe I can help someone else who might see themselves or a loved one in Stephen. In sharing, I hope that maybe they can catch some of the red flags that I missed before it's too late. Over the course of the last 2 years, I've spoken in detail with NAMI, as well as Solomon Family and the Defensive Line Foundation, to better educate myself on mental health issues so that I can share warning signs with others. All of my proceeds from this book are going to fund the mental health focused foundation I started in Stephen's honor, Move with Kindness. My hope is that we don't need to lose another husband, brother, father, or friend to suicide. I believe that if Stephen were able to choose, he would choose to share his story, told if it meant saving even one life. Much love to all those who have supported our family these many years." Obviously, this statement was not met well by the family or friends. And I think one of the most glaring portions of the statement to me was that she did not address the fact that Stephen knew all of these things before he passed away. If what she claims in the journal is true, and we still don't know, he knew that before he died and he already chose not to share it. So why then in death, after he's died, would he choose to share it now? He can't. It's an impossible, it's not even possible for him to do that. It's a way for her to deflect this and say, but this is what Stephen wanted. It's gaslighting because Stephen is dead. He can't choose. The only one choosing is her. If he didn't choose to release this information while alive, the point and the concern of the family and his friends is, why would you release it after he's dead? How does this help anyone? Her claims that revealing details about his struggles will help other people doesn't necessarily benefit anyone but her. People can see him and recognize him and understand him. And those that know him and love him know the different things that he might have struggled with. And I don't think anyone is under any pretense that this man was a perfect person that didn't have darkness or some level of darkness. I mean, we all do. We all have things in our lives that have hurt us. No one goes through life without trauma. But another point of view here is not that Stephen was running away from the trauma of childhood, but maybe running away from the trauma of his marriage. There's an entire side of the story that she's not saying, and the family says that she's silenced them. The family has told me and left stories and posted on Instagram their own points of view. I want to share something with you that his friend Manny posted on Instagram. And this might give you a different perspective of what they think is the root here. Manny Cross, who is a dancer, he's Emmanuel Hurd. If you loved Twitch, screenshot this and post it on your page, your story, or everywhere. This needs to end today. Dear Allison, you have lied for the last time on my brother. He was absolutely no addict. You will say and do anything for $1. An addict? You are the one that was messing with Coke, Molly, and X. I have all the proof. Play with somebody safe. Country boy right here, I don't give a F. Every person who knew him knows you're lying and have been doing dirty crap for a long time. Should I post our last conversation? Try me. You have no idea what I have to post. Here's a few questions I have for you, though. Why did you make his mom sign an NDA to see her son's body? Why did his closest friend and family have to sign an NDA to attend his funeral? Why did you lie at the funeral about how every day was magical? It wasn't. He told me everything. You had to try and demonize Nelson, and now I see why. You demonize anyone in his life that found out the truth about you. You will say his friends aren't his friends. You will discredit anyone that knows the truth. You're a toxic woman, and I truly believe he would still be alive had he not been married to you. My only regret is telling him to work on it with you for the sake of the kids when he talked to me about leaving you. I just didn't know the full truth. And just like everyone that supports you, we were both in the same situation, married to toxic narcissists that loved Black men as a fetish and will lie and cry wolf and twist narratives and so-called evidence to be a victim and make $1. We didn't have our dads the way we wanted, so we persevered through the bull to be the best fathers we could. Today is the last day you do this. I was contacted about a TV show last year, and after sending their condolences about me losing Stephen, guess what the producer said about you? The same thing all of them say about you. You're a money-hungry, lying narcissist that will play victim and say and do anything for $1. My last question is, wasn't it your gun that he used? Keep playing with my brother's name. This is the year of truth. Everything is offline, nothing is off limits, and AHD IV ever. Manny's post was one of many that made allegations against her for having issues with substances. His former manager, Nelson, actually has posted several things about him. But she represented both Twitch and Allison, and this is what he wrote in the story. For over a decade, I put up with so much disrespect and just plain evil stuff from you because of him. I should have dropped you as a manager. I hate that I built you up and fought extremely hard for you to get jobs. Even hiring you as a judge on a show on Bravo, I helped build. I should have let them fire you when you showed your true colors on set and held us up because you could barely speak. Don't act holier than thou with the demons and skeletons you have. Your house is made of glass. I don't have to say a thing. Others are coming for you now. People know my addiction journey because it's part of my testimony. If you truly are healed, then share your true self and not monetize Stephen. The floodgates opened, and one of his longtime friends, Comfort Fadok, who is a choreographer and been in the industry forever, she actually was a choreographer for the movie Wicked. She wrote this: if you truly loved your late husband, our Stephen Laurel Boss, even if there were challenges with his family, basic decency and compassion would compel you to show respect, especially if you claim he was fighting an addiction you didn't even know about while he was alive. Wouldn't love call for concern and communication with his family rather than airing it all out in a magazine? What's the real motive here? Awareness or attention? Stephen isn't here to defend himself, yet his name continues to be dragged through the mud. Love doesn't look like this, but manipulation and marketing for personal gain does. As Courtney said, and I'll echo, stick to your own demons. For too long, I've stayed silent, quietly supporting the family, even as I watched all this unfold. Signing NDAs under the guise of protecting his name only enabled you to twist the narrative. But now enough is enough. Since Stephen's passing, your actions have been nothing short of questionable. Within 48 hours, you changed your last name from Boss back to Holker on Instagram. You hired a defense attorney and altered your story about Stephen's whereabouts. What is the purpose of all of this? What good does it do to disrespect Stephen's family, especially his mother? I've heard the conversations firsthand, the disrespect, the dismissal, the unbelievable behavior toward the woman who gave him life. How could someone who claims to love him treat his family this way? When Stephen passed, I heard the devastating news from everyone but you. I messaged, I called, and was left on read to this day. You didn't even tell me about the funeral. I had to assert myself to ensure I was there because the family and our closest friends wanted me by their side. Stephen and I shared a bond that was genuine, honest, and unshakable. Since his death, I've watched his children be isolated from an entire side of the family. My heart aches for them because they deserve love, unity, and the full picture of who their father was. I still want to hope that reconciliation is possible, but calling out the truth is necessary for that to happen. Stephen and I, along with several others, got matching tattoos, Ivy Real and Ivy Forever. It was a bond that symbolized loyalty, love, and unity, keeping us locked in no matter what. That's the kind of person Stephen was, someone who valued those connections deeply. To see that bond disrespected and how you've handled his legacy is beyond heartbreaking. Stephen was one of the most mindful, respectful, and loyal people I've ever known. If the roles were reversed, he would have never exploited personal battles or shared intimate details of someone he loved, especially not for profit or attention. Love means protecting those battles, even in death, and carrying their struggles as your own, not using them as a platform. Stephen's death is a devastating and unresolved tragedy. The man I knew had plans for his life, plans filled with hope and purpose that didn't align with what has been portrayed. Something about all of this has felt off from the very beginning. If you've ever had the same feeling, you're not alone. Stephen was a beautiful soul, but one who was trapped in a facade. And now, in hindsight, it's painfully clear he was living with the enemy. I've archived most of these posts and stories in a highlight and through my stories on Instagram. If you want to see the number of people that have spoken out, dozens of people in this industry. Someone that actually worked closely with him for 8 years on Ellen DeGeneres' show, executive producer of the show, Andy Lassner, he said this. Here's the thing about addicts. We know each other. Whether we've got 10 days clean or 10 years, there's this unspoken recognition, a vibe, a nod, a yep, I see you, it's instant. Twitch never gave me that at all. He carried light, joy, and kindness in a way that made people feel safe and seen. Every day, his energy wasn't the chaos of addiction, it was the calm that so many of us fight for. Obviously, as an addict, I know about keeping secrets and bullshitting the world about who you are. I'm not saying there weren't maybe some things about his life I was completely missing, but if there were, he was as good at hiding them as anyone I've ever seen, ever. I'm not here to weigh in on what is right or wrong or what is true or not, but I am here to tell you that the man I knew for many years was an absolute king, and I think he deserves to be remembered that way. Family disputes and disagreements following a loved one's death, especially after a death like suicide, are common. A lot of fingers get pointed and blame happens because there are always so many unanswered questions. But in this case, when it comes to the narrative that Allison wants to paint versus what everyone else that knew him says, it's very clear that her motives, at least to me, don't appear genuine. When I've talked to all of these different people and I've shared just a small fraction, most say that it wasn't him that was struggling, but rather it was her. Countless people that worked on So You Think You Can Dance and other shows that they were involved in were telling me stories of Allison showing up drunk, wasted, falling on floors, vomiting at wrap parties, vomiting at people's weddings, having to be picked up and carried and so that it leaves. Twitch often having to care for her while she was drunk. Stories about her using illicit substances, going out and partying for days at a time. So many people had these stories. In fact, her alcoholism, alleged alcoholism, and alleged drug use is apparently a very well-kept secret, or not even a well-kept secret, like, everyone knows about it, it's just not discussed publicly. Sometimes when people are hurting and they're narcissistic, and if everyone is saying that she's a narcissist, narcissists are very good at projection, so they project their problems onto other people. I didn't talk to very many people that said that they ever saw him using substances other than smoking pot, which is legal in the state of California. What seems obvious is that there was some sort of dispute between the two of them before his death. That dispute has left her angry at him, and his family is fighting for his legacy. And because she was his heir and his surviving spouse, they don't have a say in what she does or says. They don't have any entitlement to his things or possessions. He died without a will. And there's always going to be disagreements about how you remember someone. But to apply allegations to someone that just don't match the reality is really, in my opinion, awful, vindictive, and cruel. And then when I did my own research and did my own digging, I couldn't find a single anything, any evidence that substances had ever been a problem for him. There's no arrests. There's no stories from people about him being so drunk that he needs to be picked up off floors or ruining people's weddings and vomiting in the doorways and nearly causing a wedding to get postponed. I mean, that happened apparently at Nelson Diaz's wedding to his ex-wife. Both he and his ex-wife told me that story. But Allison has her own history, which is quite strange. She was arrested for having alcohol as a minor in 2007 in Utah. And then in 2018, she was arrested at the airport in Salt Lake City for public intoxication and disorderly conduct for not complying and harassing an officer that was trying to arrest her. I spoke to 3 people that knew about this arrest. The arrest was never publicized. I mean, they weren't that big of people, so maybe the arrest wouldn't have been big news. She never got charged with anything because she didn't show up after they issued a warrant in 2021 and the charges were dropped because they failed to prosecute her. But she was the one that got arrested for public intoxication and disorderly conduct in 2018. And multiple people I talked to said the entire situation was greatly embarrassing for him. And most people I've talked to have said her drinking created a lot of conflict in their relationship. But it wasn't just the fact that she drank that caused problems, it was that they were diametrically different people. He was someone that was big into civil rights. He was a Democrat. She, a registered Republican. She grew up Mormon. He did not. She wanted fame and Instagram attention. He wanted a private life. Everything in their lives were polar opposite. And sometimes that can work, but sometimes those two things grate against each other. And it just got obvious to them both. And Nelson and several other people said he wanted to end things with her, that their last conversation was a breakup, and that they feel that all of this, of her doing this, is not to help other people, but it's her leashing this anger she has towards him because of how it ended. And if she would maybe just get honest about how things ended and what happened and uncover her own pain and be honest about it, maybe that vulnerability could actually be the story here. But then that tarnishes what she's trying to sell. And if she really cares about her image, does she want the world to know that her marriage was falling apart and that he wanted to leave her? Or would she rather that he had demons and he actually took his life because of childhood trauma? His family believes that if the suicide is more likely that he felt trapped, maybe felt like if he did leave her, she would take the kids. He would never see them again. He wanted a way out and didn't know how to get out. Others have said that she maybe made him feel like he was worthless, insignificant, berated, and verbally abused. They believe he was a victim of narcissistic abuse, and he maybe at one time felt like he was doing them all a favor by leaving this world. And that can happen to victims of narcissistic abuse. We'll never know the truth because he's not here to tell his side. And a one-sided narrative by Allison is not helping things at all. I stand with the family in this case because it's very obvious to me that the right side of the story is honoring him, respecting his privacy, and not degrading him further with false accusations and a smear campaign. Allison continues to lose followers. She has so much backlash she's facing. Huge industry people are speaking out against her, and I have a hard time believing that she'll be able to recover from this. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.